Hey there folks, I am bringing this video to you from a different setting than the one you are normally used to seeing. Normally I'm shooting these videos in my studio. Today I decided to kind of bring my stuff home and shoot the video in my living room. One, to give you guys a different setting than the same setting that you guys are always seeing. And two, I just wasn't going to have the time during the work week to be able to shoot this intro, but I wanted to bring you guys a video. Now, I was going to release this video last week, but I ended up coming down with a cold. And I did not want to be shooting the intro or any of the voiceovers all super congested. I'm not sure if you guys can tell, but I'm on the tail end of the cold right now. To be quite honest, I think I should be good tomorrow, but I have been saying that for about like 3 days now. Funny enough, I'm shooting this video on my cell phone and not on my camera that I use for recording, because I brought the camera home, I brought my lighting, brought the tripod, brought all the stuff that I was going to need to be able to shoot the video, brought my microphone. And then when I pulled the camera out of my truck and I opened the case, I noticed that the camera was on. So at some point in time, I turned the camera on, maybe to check the battery status, forgot to turn it off, put it in the casing, put it in the truck, and that thing was just on the entire time. So I did try to film the intro on that camera. I got maybe 1 or 2 minutes out of it before it just shut down. So I'm redoing it, doing it on the phone. I don't know how good the quality is going to be compared to the Canon camera, but I did recently just upgrade my phone to the 16 Pro. So it should be halfway decent. I'm hoping it should be good enough for the video. So let's go ahead and talk about this video. This is on a sleeve that I finished not that long ago. I did release some photos prior to this video. When my client came in for the final session, it was kind of wrapping up the inside of his arm, but I also went ahead and took some time to just kind of touch up some stuff that I noticed needed to be a little bit darker. And that was something that, I noticed. That's one of the pluses of the multiple sessions, is I'm able to put a session into the tattoo, have the client come back the next time. I'm able to take a look at the healed work of what I just finished. So that way I'm able to make some changes from here moving forward. But I also have the time to kind of go back to the previous work that was done and touch up what needs to be touched up. Whether that means going darker in one location or upping the contrast in the background, whatever the case may be. So I did go ahead and upload some photos of our final session, and the thing about that, some was fresh, most of it was healed. It creates kind of a weird dynamic because the tattoo's healed, but then there's some darker, redder areas in this spot or that spot, whatever. So I went ahead and I let the tattoo heal for maybe a month and a half. Could have been even a little bit more than that, maybe 2 months. And I went ahead and had my client come back, and we took some healed photos, took some healed video footage, which is used for the video you'll be watching, this one here right now. And I also uploaded those videos to Instagram and TikTok. But let's go ahead and break down this tattoo. I don't want to deep dive into some of the story behind this tattoo. You never know when the client maybe, doesn't want you to share how personal some of these symbols may be for them. And I'm not trying to get that out there. This isn't a tattoo show where, we got to show the client crying because the tattoo is this and that, and I've overcome that. We're not doing that. It doesn't have to be that. So this tattoo is very symbolic to the client. On the outside of the arm, it's we got some angels. We have Saint Michael up top and another angel down kind of below. And I believe the outside is to represent the the silver lining to, the other side of this, very difficult obstacle. Then on the inside of the arm, we have a Grim Reaper holding an hourglass. Again, symbolic of just, death and time, So already there, we already have the two polar opposites. We have the Grim Reaper representing death and time. And then on the other hand, we have, the angels and clouds, a protector angel up with Saint Michael. And then the peace that the lower portion with the feminine angel provides. And on the inside, we have 3 Spartan warriors right there standing on a cliff peering down into a valley. And, that's what we got on the inside of the arm. So the whole arm in and of itself is pretty symbolic to the client, has a lot of meaning. Unfortunately, I didn't get all of the footage on the inside of the arm. The problem that ends up happening, I'm trying to get these tattoos completed in the quoted amount of time, but anybody who's been tattooed with me while I'm trying to film some of these videos, I'm moving a tripod, I'm charging batteries, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm dealing with all the stuff that comes with trying to get this stuff on video. So at times, just to keep the ball rolling where I need it to be, occasionally, I maybe don't record some stuff because I'm just trying to get the tattoo finished in the scheduled amount of time. With that said, with this tattoo, I did have my client have to come back maybe 2 or 3 times more than what was originally scheduled. But I just didn't want to cut down on quality. If I was going to have the client come back to make sure the tattoo looks, I just don't want to leave anything on the table. I want to know when the tattoo was finished that I gave it my 100% and I don't have any excuses, and this piece is complete. So to kind of mention some things, videos are going to be taking a little bit of a change. Things are going to be a little bit different. What I mean by that is the quality is going to be improving. I did go ahead and purchase some extra cameras. I have a few more ideas as to how I want to be recording these videos. So the good news is you guys, the people, will be getting higher quality, better footage and videos. I'm going to be doing things a little bit different as well. I don't want the videos to be the exact same thing, the exact same format. I don't want people to watch one of my videos and think, oh, okay, well, the next one's just going to be the same thing and so will the other one. So I'm just going to skip watching this video and just see the finished photos, because I know the video is just going to be the same as the video that I just saw before. So I'm trying to change that. I'm going to try to make things a little bit different. I'm going to try to include a little bit more dialogue, and that's something that I'm going to be able to achieve with some of the new cameras that I purchased. One that I can maybe just kind of leave running the entire duration of the session, and I'll be able to record any sort of story or this or that. Try to really bring you guys along on kind of what it's like getting tattooed. We can go ahead and skip over, some of the hours of silence and all that jazz, but really kind of try to bring you guys along into what goes into doing some of these tattoos. So I'm looking forward to producing some videos with my new setup. This one does not. This video doesn't have any of the new cameras, camera angles, microphones, anything like that, but the next one's gonna be good. That I can promise. So let's go ahead and get started with this video. As always, if you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe, comment, that's always appreciated, and let's get on with the show.
How does this feel? Not too bad? No big deal.
Alright, so in this section of the video, I am doing a light gray line to the outline of this Reaper tattoo. Part of the reason that I'm doing this is when you are working on a tattoo where it's going to be multiple sessions, I don't want to waste any time trying to realign the stencil when my client shows back up for session 2 or 3 or 4. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of gray line my image. It's a nice light outline, done with a delusion. So the outline itself is not going to be very strong, and the idea is to hide my outline so as the tattoo ages and time goes by, as I shade the tattoo, you're not seeing the lines. Really, this is just, it's almost a placeholder for me to, it's really sort of just a way for me to etch the stencil into the skin. I'm using Type 3 to do this. Part of the reason why I'm using the Type 3 is because I'm trying to make these lines as minimal as possible, because the idea for these lines is that they are non-existent. That is kind of the goal. So using a very fine needle with a very light delusion will allow me to achieve those results. In this section, I am using my Type 3 with my machine set to a very low voltage. And what I'm doing with this is I'm using the Type 3 to allow me to kind of shade, create texture, to get into these little tight spots that I would have difficulty doing with a mag, but I'm still trying to, maximize the amount of detail that I'm putting into this. So I'll use the Type 3 at a low setting to be able to kind of shade these areas out with a very fine needle, and it allows me to get into the little cracks and, like I said, kind of create texture. And now I've went ahead and I've switched over to a mag. I'm using a 7 mag, and I use 7 mags a lot. I use the 7 mags because they get into tight little spots, but I'm using the 7 mag to go ahead and again just kind of throw some shading into these areas to kind of try and create some depth. But so I'm doubling up here because I use the Type 3 to get into the small tiny little areas, and now I've switched over into a 7 mag to begin using a more standard look, utilizing a mag for the shading in the face here. So now I have a round liner busted out for this portion of the tattoo, the hourglass here. I'm using a 7 round shader. And so I kind of use these when, It's kind of that in between. I don't need the fine tight 3 with the machine toned down and some stipple shading to achieve what I'm doing. I need something a little bit thicker. I need something a little bit more bolder. So I'm using the 7-round shader, kind of up the detail there, because I'm using that 7-round shader to kind of do some of these darker areas, some of these finer areas, and then going back over that with the mag is allowing me to really get the desired results that I'm going for.